I don't just talk, I do it. Say what I mean and prove it. Stand on 10, no fluking. Straight in the field, no moving. I don't just talk, I do it. Truth in my walk, I use it.
Welcome back to the Built by Believe podcast. We got a guest join us today, Miguel, a homeboy from trade school, and I'm just blessed to have him join us today. The man's been phenomenal in his growth, and just happy to have him, honestly. So,
nervous, but appreciate the having me. Blessed.
100%, man. Yeah.
yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. So the topic we're gonna have today,
Yeah, taking ownership of your life,
taking ownership of your life.
or how to take more ownership of your life.
Love it. Man, kicking it off. I guess I'll start. Ownership of your life. There's a book I want to throw out there that really emphasizes this more. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. That book really talked about how when taking ownership of your life, it never starts with who you're leading or who's around you. It always starts from within. Realizing that until you can take ownership of yourself, you can't lead others. And so what are you doing every day to show ownership of yourself? To prove to yourself, hey, I can lead me. I'm able to take ownership of my own growth. How can I then lead others? And so any elaboration on that, guys?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all good stuff, taking ownership of your life, that comes before being able to lead others, essentially, right? You got to be able to lead yourself first. And, what we do behind closed doors, that's always going to reveal itself to others around us, one way or another. Maybe it's not in the way, like, it's broadcasted, oh, this is what he's doing, you know what I mean? Like the spotlight on there. But the way you carry yourself, the way you respond in certain situations, that's going to reflect to what you do when no one's looking, One way or another, it's going to come out, God's going to reveal it. And if I were to tell everybody, hey, I abstain from sex, I abstain from drinking, etc., this ministry is where I put my all in, you know what I mean, for God's glory. But then I turn around and I do those things, right? One way or another, it's going to show in my demeanor, the way I respond to people, what I entertain. Subconsciously, my mind isn't going to register that we don't do that, because we do that, Eventually, it's going to slip out like, oh, why are you talking a lot? Why are you talking with so-and-so about partying so much? It's almost like you do it yourself, One way or another, it's going to show, especially with somebody who does walk in that integrity. You can see the difference as clear as day, the way they carry themselves, what they entertain. And so I think that's just very important,
Earlier, we were talking about this, just how to take more ownership of your life. It's important because I found that through personal experience, when I've taken more ownership of my life, I'm like, okay, hey, now I'm starting to really value my time. I'm seeing that I can get a lot more stuff done. But I can't be everywhere all the time for somebody, because I still need to prioritize areas of my life. So, for example, like Christian, I used this example earlier, said, hey, okay, let's say, so Christian, you're in a relationship, right? So I understand that you have another aspect of your life that requires more responsibility on your end. Now, let's throw kids into the equation. Oh boy, now you got way more responsibility. It would be both inconsiderate and disrespectful of me to say, hey, I just expect undivided attention from you all the time, like I have attachment issues. Okay, so just to put it bluntly. So when we understand, like whenever we really put ourselves in the other person's shoes, like, yeah, hey, like I understand, like I'm not trying to, make you be spread too thin. Like one of the things that we talk about is valuing each other's time, right? So we talked about this, I think, on the first episode that we uploaded. Yeah. We're saying, hey, we say we're going to be somewhere at a certain time. So that way it's more considerate. It's considering the other person's schedule. Yes. I don't want to assume just because, like, hey, I used to be a guy that had a completely free schedule. So selfishly, I'd be like, oh, because I'm so unintentional and free with my schedule, let me now project that onto the other person.
Yeah. Yes.
That's exactly what I mean.
So, no. Anything that you guys want to
Good stuff.
add to that?
Yeah, I mean that.
I'll let Nola do it.
Sorry.
You're good.
Just real quick, I wanted to elaborate on that point because that's so true about how others who are in that boat, they tend to project that onto you. Now it's like, well, why can't you just set aside time? You know what I mean? It's no big deal. But it's like, no, it is a big deal. These things have built me up into the man I am today. You know, I continue to be. You know, I think it's very important that sometimes when we take ownership of our lives, we have to make those boundaries clear to others who we're in contact with. You got to be firm sometimes. You got to be a jerk at times. You know, you got to stand firm on the values that you place in there, the structure you placed on your life to take ownership of your life, to be able to lead others, to continue to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, really good stuff.
sustaining.
I know you want to say something.
So, you brother.
So one thing about the ownership, I think with me, when I started taking ownership is when I gave my life to Christ, just started following him more. And then saying, you know, he has my life plan. So anything that I can't control, you know, just something I can give to him and just go on to what he has said for me that day. And that's one thing I think we've all been talking, probably not just today, but probably in a week, probably just in different rooms. Not to worry about tomorrow, just worry about today and just whatever we got to do. And then another, on our way over here, Chris showed me this podcast, which it's gonna help a lot too, because I picked some things up. And I know with me, it's like some days, you know, we'll wake up, we have like 10 things to get done. We're all trying to, you know, figure it out how we can smash it at the same time. But on the podcast, he was just saying, you know, just 3 things that you need to get done today. Mark those 3 things and get them done, and boom, whatever you can get done after that, that's just bonus. But get them 3 things done, and you'll see how much, you know, just basically ownership you'll get back, how much time, how much stress you'll get more relieved. So, you know, just I say if you want to take ownership in life, you know, give it to God first, because he does own our life first, and then he'll show us, you know, what our purpose in this life is, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. And then another thing too about, like, you know, just like boundaries, I do feel that, and it kind of does suck to say that we have to be like, you know, jerks, dicks sometimes for them to get it, but, you know, it's not our intention. It's just, you know, we've said it a few times, you know, and, you know, it just gets to the point where, like, you know, I have my own life, you know, I want to do things on my own. That's why I'm focusing, you know, this time for this time only, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't want to be there for you or help you out, you know. I just got to do this, you know, for my family, you know, and so on and so forth. So,
That's
yeah.
good stuff, man. Really good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Do you have something that you want to
Man,
add?
I wanted to elaborate on what you just said, because,
Do it.
man, literally, it goes back to I don't know if we said this last episode,
You're good.
but man, when you become the best version of yourself, that's when you can help people the most.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if you want me to help you more, I need to also better myself more.
Mm-hmm.
So having that extreme ownership to go, hey, like, I'm looking to better myself. For me to better myself, I have to do these certain things that I have in alignment. Like, I may not get better that same day, I may not get better tomorrow, but it compounds. To realize that, hey, like it's for me, you know, it's for between me, especially me and God. Like, when I get my morning devotions early in the morning, like, that's between me and God to get my relationship stronger with him. And so realizing that you do these things that people may not understand, because at the end of the day, it's not about your ownership is not about them looking at your ownership, if that makes sense. Like, it's your own ownership for a reason. And so realizing that it's okay for people to sometimes, like, look at you in a way where it seems like you're rude, when at the end of the day, like, you're not trying to be rude. You're just trying to become that better version of yourself, to then, believe it or not, later down the road, even help them.
Yeah.
And so it just comes from a heart posture to realizing, hey, if you truly want to love someone, you should love someone at the best of your ability too. So,
One thing that I wanted to touch on there, because Miguel said something that sparked this thought in me, is knowing what's in your control and what's not. Mm-hmm. So, I know that there's been a couple situations in my life where somebody will, you know, kind of try to add responsibility onto my plate. So, again, the power of no is, like, sometimes you need to use it, because last thing you want is unmet expectations. Be like, yeah, hey, like, I already have a list of things that I do need to get done.
Oh yeah.
if I end up getting to that, then that'll just be a cherry on top. It'll be a marvelous surprise, but just go ahead and assume, hey, you might need to find somebody else, or this is going to have to be done by you. So whenever we talk about ownership and accountability, I know no one's saying that here, but this is for the person that might be trying to hear what we're not saying. Accountability, ownership, it is not predicated upon just being a Christian. This is stuff you can start doing right now. So that's all I wanted to add there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, you took the words right out of my mouth on that. You know, that's what I was thinking as well. Is especially when you're like in a role of leadership in anything, you're always going to have people who don't agree with how you do it or don't quite sit well with how you handle certain things. But that's the thing, though. You can't please everybody. You can't please everyone. In fact, it'd be kind of concerning if you were, to be quite frank on that. So if you think about it, if you're not pleasing everybody, then you're doing something right, You're putting your foot in front of the next, trying to be better every day, trying to become a better leader, a better soldier, a better follower, a better teacher, whatever it is, right? And sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes you have to say no. And it doesn't always feel right in the moment, but if that person, say Christian, right? Christian is going through some traumatic things. He's down bad. I'm trying to be a police officer, and I'm also leading a ministry, right? So I've got my things going on. I got some people I'm pouring into. I got responsibilities of my own. I got a kid on the way, hypothetically.
I was going to say, what? so I feel like, what?
No, I'm just speaking.
Surprise. No one told me.
No.
Okay. Wow.
Just hypothetically, paint that picture. No, that'd be funny if that was the case, but yeah, but you get the picture, right? I have all these responsibilities going on right now. And so Christian then thinks to himself, well, man, I got to get up in the morning, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. I hit the door at the police academy, right? Let's see, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, ministry work. 6 o'clock for the rest of the day, family time. You know what I mean? So that the only window of free time I got is that 2 hours. Yeah. And man, I'm pouring into myself for those 2 hours to be able to sustain for the rest of the day and do my responsibilities. Yeah. And Christian then says, well, no, man, you need to come and help me out with this, man. 12 to 5 p.m. Not saying Christian would do this because he wouldn't. But 12 to 5 p.m. though, he's saying, man, I need to come and let's hang out 12 to 5, man. I got to talk with you some more. And hypothetically, we go to the same church, right? And so we spend that time at church, but then he's like, well, man, I know we spend time at church, but dude, come on, I need you to come and hang out with me, he's feeling some loneliness, I guess, in the season that he's in. Again, he's got some trauma going on, and I kind of make that call, man, I think he could benefit from counseling. I think he's leaning on me too much for this, and he's treating me like a counselor, but again, I can't give him that kind of help. I got my own responsibilities going on, And I got these systems set into place where I have to honor these things to sustain, to continue, to grow. And so if he then projects onto me, well, you're a terrible leader because you're not helping me out. Well, then that's a him problem. Yeah. That's a them problem, not yours. Yeah. If they can't honor that you have responsibilities of your own and you've got system in place that you honor, that you're founded in, then that's their problem. It's not yours. Yeah. We can't help out everybody. We're not Jesus. We're not Jesus.
No, man. And again, really good stuff because I want to elaborate on the part that, like you said, to pour into yourself. It's so crucial that, again, as we develop into the men we're called to be, pouring into ourselves, even ladies too, pouring into yourself is a key component to winning the day because there's so much that takes from you throughout the day, so much. You have things that happen out of your control. You have things that happen with family or even friends, like you said earlier, friends and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But if you import into yourself and you're running off of an empty battery, that's why people get burned out. It's how are you pouring into yourself? It's are you even winning the day before the day has a chance to hit you, if that makes sense? Because the day's hitting you and you're on an empty battery. No wonder you feel like you're worn out. It's you should want to pour into yourself to have pretty much an overcharged battery to then be able to pour into others, to where it's not an issue where it's taken from you. Yeah. So realizing that, hey, this person actually has a more loving heart than I thought because he takes time to pour into himself first to then pour into other people, not just straight up pour from an empty cup. So there's that saying, pouring from an empty cup. A lot of times we feel like we're just drained, and it's bound to naturally happen because we can only do so much. Like, we're human, we can only do so much as humans. You know, we're not Jesus, like Dylan said. Like, you know, we're not God, we're not divine. We don't have infinite energy. We have to get it from somewhere, but also we should be willing to look for it too and find ways that refuel us to then be those men we're called to be. So, any elaboration, y'all?
That was well said.
I like to elaborate on that. So with you, like you said, like the empty cup, I do agree with that. Because I know me growing up, y'all, like, this is kind of part of my testimony. Y'all heard it, you know, so I'll share down the story on the line if y'all want to with you, Cortland.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
But I know with me growing up, I try to be a people pleaser just because the way I grew up, you know, I didn't like the way I was at home. So I would try to please people, just friends or even people that I didn't even get along. I would still try to please them. And I would please so much. And then once I was done with pleasing, my cup would be empty. I would still try to please. But then it would just, at least for me, it just messed me up more mentally because I'm not pouring into myself. I'm not working into myself. I'm not taking ownership of my life, you know. I'm just trying to be a little solution to everybody's problem. So that's why I thank God, you know, that he's helped me grow a lot for like from that time till now, to like just growing and just, you know, pouring into myself first so I can just pour to anybody else, you know. So yeah, I do like what you said though.
One thing, so this thought came to mind, the importance of having standards for your own life. So that way you don't give people this impression that they can just steamroll over you and just enter your life like, hey, you're on call, you're on speed dial for me. No. So when you said, when you were talking about people pleasing, because I've definitely been there. Because, we want people to love us. We want to walk in relationship with people. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's about not being like butter being spread over too much toast, so to speak. I want to have a little Hobbit reference in there. So, but because then what happens if you start taking on? We mentioned this, I think, briefly in the last episode. But unmet expectations. Nobody likes that. So when I expect a particular toy in my Happy Meal, I want the toy that I got. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I think, no, actually you can. Sorry, segue. But just, so let's just use a little bit of humor in there. But no one likes that.
Yeah.
So
I think to kind of reframe, all good stuff, by the way, all good stuff, but to kind of reframe the point of view here, I think to get back to the main question that we had for this podcast or the main topic rather, on taking ownership of your life, I think one of the biggest things of why it's so important, you know, hypothetically again, let's say I don't have a foundation of Christ, right? I'm just like a feather in the wind. I take whatever's in my mind because I don't have a foundation in there to tell me this is wrong, that is wrong. Standards. And so I don't have standards, right? And so I go to my workplace, and so-and-so's like, hey, man, we're going to go drink and party. What do you got going on today after work? I got nothing. Oh, you want to come with us? Well, I got nothing better else going on. Why not? I join them, and I then become a part of that group of consistently doing that. And so whatever the world gives me, I feed into it, and I'm just influenced any which way that whoever's in front of me is going to lead me, right? But the danger in that is... at that point, your success and your life is dependent on others around you. Yeah. It doesn't matter what their foundation is, where they place their faith in. You're letting everybody influence you, and that's why I think taking ownership of your life is very important. You can't just go with how you feel. Well, I don't feel like reading my word today. What do you feel like doing? Well, I feel like scrolling. I feel like getting junk food. I feel like not working out today. You see, the issue with that is that's not you taking ownership of your life. That's your life taking ownership of you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why you have to be intentional at times. You have to put those standards in place, put those functions in place for a reason. 7 a.m., quiet time with God. 9 a.m., workout. After the gym, make sure I have my post-workout meal. After that, do some reading, do some journaling. Put those systems in place and be intentional with it. Not because you feel like doing it, but because you have to do it. Yeah. You need to do it. You got to be doing it.
Amen. One last thing, and then Courtney will close this out. Man, this was a great talk. Bottom line I want to say before I hand over to Cortland is one thing I learned about ownership of your life is it's always your fault. It's always your fault. It's always your fault because you allow it. When you have ownership over your life, nothing should knock you off your course because you have ownership of your life. So I'll just end it with that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So before I close this out, just to put a cherry on that, it's just remembering, again, what is within your control, right? I'm not going to blame you for something that's happening somewhere else in blah, blah, blah land.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thank you so much again for joining us for another episode here on the Built by Belief podcast. Almost forgot the name of our own podcast. So be sure, like, subscribe, share this with someone else that you may find value. But we'll see you next time. Take care.
Love y'all. Be blessed.
Stay blessed.